Hey everybody, welcome back to the layout. We're here on the Seneca Lake scene, and let me just tell you that I've never been this excited to share a layout update with you guys. Let's jump right in. So I know everybody will be anxious to check out the Seneca Lake scene, and I promise we'll get there as quickly as we can, but got a couple other fun things to talk about before we get there. First of which is this locomotive on the right hand side. That's a Finger Lakes number 2303. That is a new locomotive to me, thanks to my good friend Rob, who decided as an N-scaler he didn't necessarily need 3 different HO scale Finger Lakes locomotives, so I sold that one to me. And for now, though, it's just running around with a non-sound decoder, and it'll get that treatment eventually. Probably won't see much runtime until it does, though. And then to the left of it here is familiar face number 2305. The new update with this is actually something you can't see right now, but if I go like this, you can see it has a keep alive in it now. This was a proof of concept for me. One of the things that has been a goal of mine is to bulletproof my operation sessions as much as I possibly can, and despite my best efforts to clean track, inevitably there still always seems to be one dead spot here or there. So I think with proof of concept complete here in 2305, we're going to move forward with putting keep alives in as much of the locomotive roster as we can. They're not going to fit in everything, but we'll be able to get them in most of our B23s at least. So we're over here in the Auburn area now, and as you can see, there's a little bit more additional trackage in here in the Auburn area, and that is the start to the Solve main, the main that goes to Solve, New York. And on it, there's sitting 3 boxcars here, and basically what I'm going to do here is create the Solve sweep track. While I'm still deciding if I'm even going to put in the Solve yard on the other side of my workbench, I'm going to at least start modeling the traffic here. I'm going to model basically as an old school sweep job. That's the way that the Finger Lakes did it prior to having the GS2 train that ran the entire line. They had 2 sweep jobs that actually met in Auburn and swapped out cars. So we're going to run it like that and see what happens. This will add an additional switching task for anybody that's on the Auburn job. And yeah, it should add a lot more fun, allow me to put some of these box cars that I've collected to good use. All right, let's go head over and finally check out the Seneca Lake scene. Well, here it is, everybody. I gotta tell you, I usually try to be a relatively humble person, but man, I am just absolutely over the moon with how this turned out. I am ecstatic. So we'll kind of go through this a little bit piece by piece, kind of break down the scene, and I'll talk about a little bit of, what I was looking at as far as inspiration is concerned for each little piece of the scene, and, kind of, like I said, break it down a little bit. So this is, again, the first part of the scene. This is the Norfolk Southern Main Line running elevated right after Himrod Junction. And, I looked at a lot of different reference material, again, when I made this, made the scenery choices that I made here. And, initially I had a ton of static grass, and as I went back and looked at a lot more reference material, I realized that a lot of these embankments are actually pretty much ballast the whole way down. So this part of the scene, right after the lake, after the split for Himrod Junction, it's pretty much clean ballast. There's a little bit of weeds growing up through. Norfolk Southern tends to do a better job, with all due respect to Finger Lakes, but they tend to do a better job as a Class 1 of keeping their track a little bit cleaner. So the Corning Secondary isn't an exception to that. There's a relatively clean track for the most part on the Corning Secondary. So working our way to the right here, geographically north, we're right at the Himrod Junction switch here, which, the prototype is actually quite a ways from the lake, but, because, we've got a little bit of selective compression going on, it ends up being right on the lake, which is fine. We got to make do with what we have. But I again continued a lot of the ballasted, elevated track here. Started to kind of fill it in a little bit with different types of weeds and stuff. A lot of this stretch right along the lake has a good amount of vegetation and trees. So a lot of it is actually really wooded, and unfortunately, as far as operations are concerned, that's really difficult to do on a model railroad, especially at an important junction like this that people are going to need to be reaching in there to throw the hand throw. People are going to have to, unfortunately, derailments do happen, no matter how good your track work is. And people are going to have to reach in there to fix those sort of things. So I couldn't do an entire tree-lined right away here along the water, but that really wouldn't have been very much fun either. And there are, again, portions of the Corning Secondary that do get right up close to the water, and there is a clear view. So kind of tried to make a balance of that here. The big thing you'll notice here too is that we've really started to embrace the late fall atmosphere on this portion of the layout. We've got a lot more burnt oranges, a lot more muted goldish orange yellows, not vibrant yellows, some muted reds, and just a few little pops of green here and there from a little bit of grass and a little bit of pine trees, and that's really it. One of the goals that I had in this section was to really make it feel like when you're on the section of railroad, it was a cold, late fall morning. We're talking late October, early November, and I want it to feel like it's 40 degrees. I want it to feel like the frost just broke in the morning. There's still maybe a little bit of frost even on the ground, on the tops of these trees, which I've attempted to recreate, and I think I've done pretty well. I'm happy with the results personally. But that's the vibe we're going for here, is a nice late fall, maybe Halloween day, type of scene, where, the leaves have started to lose or the trees have started to lose their leaves, and that sort of thing. And I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. So now we're over here on the other side of the foreground trees, just to kind of give you an idea of how this side of the scene looks. This is the part of the scene that's not 100% complete yet. This will actually be where the boathouse scene will eventually be. That needs to be scratch built, and there will need to be a path that kind of comes off the backdrop and down to the water, down to the dock. So that whole back section there, I've held off doing anything there for now, and there's a little path for a stairway to go in right where the trees stop and the brush begins. And that's hopefully where that will have room to go. But I really wanted to kind of show this side of it just so that you can kind of see, you know, these foreground trees actually really do a lot for the scene as far as breaking it up is concerned. You know, it gives me honestly probably like 3 or 4 different angles I can play with making videos on the scene, just by having that there to kind of work as a scene divider. You know, it makes the scene feel a lot longer, having the train just kind of disappear from view for a split second, even though, as you saw in the intro, you can kind of see the lights of the headlight and the ditch lights kind of reflecting still in the surface of the water, which I absolutely love. But you know, this front grouping of trees really does a good job of, like I said, breaking it up. The bare trees here, I went ahead and kind of applied the spray adhesive a little heavy so it looks like they're frosted over. And I think it does a good job of really helping to make the scene feel cold, like the frost is just breaking and all that. So happy with the way it turned out. So there you have it, everybody, the Seneca Lake scene. Man, I am so happy with how this turned out. I put so much work and so much passion into this scene, and I hope that it shows through this video. I really do. I was so excited to share it with everybody. You know, let me know what you think. If you think that there's anything that I could have done better, I'm all ears. Like I said in my last video, I'm always looking to become a better modeler. I always know that I can do better, and this particular scene would not have turned out as good as it did without coming to that realization, without deciding to make the switch to modeling late fall, and without the feedback of many others whom I really appreciate. So let me know what you think, like I said, in the comments. Give me a like, a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, because there's plenty more of this to come. Plenty more high-level scenery, plenty more ops videos, plenty more how-tos. It's just getting started. So subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.